Thank you, brother. Welcome, everybody, to this Sunday morning service at Salt and Light Christian Church. The story that I will be telling you all this morning is about the hymn, "This Is My Father's World." This hymn was published as a poem in a book of writings and poems titled Thoughts for Everyday Living. It was published in the year 1901. The author was a man named, forgive me as I butcher this name, Malthy Babcock. He was born and raised in upstate New York, and he grew up quite a talented young man. He was very physically fit, tall and muscular, a great swimmer, and even captain of his university baseball team. But not only was he very athletic, he also dabbled in the arts. He played multiple musical instruments and even composed original compositions. He led his university's orchestra as well as directed the glee club.
Oh my goodness.
So he had many talents. He even drew on the side for fellow students at his university and was popular for doing impressions. And so Malthy would have found success in pretty much any walk of life. However, God called him to the ministry.
Yep.
After his stint at university, he went to Auburn University to get his pastorate, where he became a pastor and became the pastor of First Presbyterian Church at Lockport, New York. This is in upstate New York, in between two of the Great Lakes.
Okay.
Here, he really grew as a Christian, and he enjoyed being out in God's creation. He often emphasized the beauty of nature and God's creation in his sermons. He was known for telling his secretary that he would be out for a while to go see his father's world. And he would go and run out just into the wilderness and go for a hike for a few miles and just run along the rolling hills. And it was during this time, while he was pastoring this church, that he wrote the poem, "This Is My Father's World," which would come to be known as the hymn that we know today. Unfortunately, as much as he loved where he lived and pastoring this church, he was called to pastor a church down in Baltimore. And so he moved to Baltimore to pastor that church, and he pastored there for 14 years. And here he was very busy. His workload compared to his earlier church was easily doubled. And he didn't have nearly as much time to go for his hikes and to enjoy his nature walks. However, he stayed strong because of his dedication to his ministry. Eventually, he moved once again to a church in New York City, where he continued pastoring. And a couple years into pastoring this church, as a gift, his church gave him the opportunity to go see the Holy Land. And he was very excited to travel to Jerusalem and to see the Holy Land in Israel. At the time, it wouldn't have been Israel, of course. However, while he was en route, he ended up getting sick in Italy, and he came down with a bacterial fever and passed away in the year 1901. Shortly after his death, his wife gathered most of his writings throughout his life and his poetry and compiled them into the book, Thoughts for Everyday Living. And she had it published. And we can see from the stanzas of this poem, the lyrics in the hymn, that not only did he have a very passionate love for God's creation, but he also had a recognition and an understanding of who we are to God and who God is to us. And we can see that in his hymn that lives on. So thank you. Let's bring the music out.